Assalamu alaikum, ni hao ma, vandikum, welcome. Guys, look here, I'm so excited to be with you guys here today. The other day, I was walking right nearby, and there's a river, and I'm sure many of you here in Malaysia know, who are familiar with Kuala Lumpur, know we have various rivers running throughout the city. As I was walking and looking at the river, I could not help but think about when I was a child and the first time my father told us that we were going fishing. I can't describe how excited my brothers and I were, the idea of going out there and catching fish. Well, let me tell you, Dad, he went and bought all the right equipment and he talked to us, and in our excitement and enthusiasm, we were practicing around the house as well as on the street, casting and pretending that it was a river there. Okay, well, that was preparing us, and especially myself, for something that would become significant later on in my life. He was training us to catch fish. Little did I know at the time, as I matured and went off to university, that had another significance. And I have to be honest, I said Assalamu alaikum, so most of you know or have gathered that I'm a Muslim, but it hasn't always been that way. Back in my earlier days, I was a Christian. In fact, I was a missionary. But how did all that take place? And why did it take place? Well, we can talk about the very beginning of it, but it has something to do with the whole idea of fishing. At one point in the Bible, it talks about the disciples. Before they were disciples, they were fishermen. They were in the boat, and they had been trying to catch fish all night, and nothing happened. Didn't catch anything. And then they heard a voice and someone from the shore, who turned out to be the prophet Isa, peace be upon him, saying, "Hey, why don't you cast your nets on this other side of the boat?" They did, and all of a sudden they had so many fish they could barely pull them up. They arrived on the shore and they said, "Well, how did you know this?" He said, "Look, from now on, I'm going to make you fishers of men." And that's what we're going to talk about today. What are the ways, the means, the methods that Christians use to catch fish? Now, you're probably saying, "I'm not a fish," but it's just this, we signify, what it means to be a fish. Something that's precious, a harvest that can be brought in, that can be made useful. So when I was in university, we had to, just like when I was a youth, we had to practice. Before we went out and actually fish for souls, as we used to say, we had to practice among ourselves. So someone would come and teach us what to say it, how to respond. So we would get that in a group session, and then we would break up and do role plays. And that was very significant because you may think you know how to do it, but all of a sudden somebody in real life may say something totally unexpected. What are you doing? So we practiced various scenarios. So most of our Christian friends who are out there evangelizing, they gone through a process where they first practice. And again, they will sit pretty much like I am right now. They may pull up a chair and have somebody else sit there, and they will have a script. And while they're going through their script, talking to the person, they're doing it verbatim, and they memorize it. Now, The whole idea is to become comfortable with approaching someone. And then when you actually get ready to do it, you know that you will play a role. Since it's your first time, you will sort of be a helper or someone who's silently praying in their heart, while the person who's more mature at this is actually doing it. So the first thing before we go out, pray. Pray for the harvest, as they call it. Pray for the catch. And that's what takes place before the actual training starts. Okay, so that's learning how to fish. So the next time we're going to learn about choosing the right bait, because you can't catch the right fish until we choose the right bait. So until then, take care. Assalamu alaikum.